been easier not to cry if I'd written something. I should have thought of that. Have somebody else read it. When I look back, am I loud enough? When I look back over the last 46 years, many of you probably know Pappy better than I do. I moved away for college and never came back. But I learned a lot from him. And if I had 20 minutes, I would tell you about, I remember that camping trip, by the way. That was great. I would tell you about conversations about history. He loved history. You talked about World War II. Most of what I know about World War II came from Pap Wolfgang, my grandfather. Probably, though, since I don't have 20 minutes, what strikes me about him, what I have learned from him, and the way I want to emulate him is in his faith. The reason that this feels like a celebration today and not like a funeral, our culture sees death as such a terrifying and sad thing. And on one level, it is. But if you think about Pappy's life, he lived, at least as long as I've known him, preparing for what happened about 5 days ago. Think about that. That is a life, I think Sue said, well lived. That's a life well lived. Thinking about the fact that we will all die and living our life accordingly. Paul talks about this. I read this to my kids yesterday. In 1 Corinthians 15, he writes, when the perishable, that's our body, puts on the imperishable, that's our glorified body, and the mortal puts on immortality, then shall come to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is your victory? O death, where is your sting? Pappy Wolfgang lived his life preparing for his death, and that's why it's a celebration. That's why I'm not devastated. I will miss him, but I'm thrilled for him. Would any of us bring him back? So I've got 3 girls sitting right here. I want to live that example for them. One thing I appreciate about Pappy's life is that he was not just a Sunday Christian. You know what I mean? He believed it. He lived it. When he told me he prayed for me, I know he prayed for me for real. When he read his Bible, he read it for real. And that's the part that I want to take away from his life. I want to read my Bible for real. And I want to pray for real, to a real God. Why? Because I have real sin, and he had real sin. One of his favorite verses was this one from Hebrews chapter 4. Since then, we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God. Let us hold fast our confession. For we do not have a high priest, that's Jesus, who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. And this is the part that he loved. Let us then with confidence, I remember him saying, with confidence, right? You can almost hear him saying it. Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need. He knew he needed God. He repented. He sought God for real. And he found grace, and he found mercy. And yes, he was not a perfect person. Fortunately, that's not the standard. You don't need to be perfect to get to heaven. To build the land you just sang about, right? But he knew who his God was. God knew who he was. And anybody who knew him knew that that was real and central to his life. I want to emulate that. That's what I take away from his life. I have many memories. I can talk to you about many of them afterwards. But that's the one I really want to, that's the legacy I want to leave. When I'm in that box I want my kids to talk about my life in that way. I will leave you with a quote. I think D.L. Moody is the one who said this. He said, "One day you will hear that D.L. Moody has died. Don't believe them. On that day, I will be more alive than I have ever been. And George Wolfgang today is more alive than he has ever been."
Good morning.